Hi everyone. Thank you. Thanks for watching. So this is the part three of the three-part series that I am making on developing data-driven web application using AWS cloud services. I'm going to do this by hand, trying to use minimal of AI tools only for coding. Let's talk about the high-level architecture. So this is what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a web page for our community is the pickleball social, where I can gather information on RSVP for different pickleball events that we would have throughout the year. And so this is what we are going to build, and we want all this data to be stored in a database, and then we can run reports on who's showing up, who's not, things like that. So as with everything, it starts with end user, and we are going to host this application on AWS, and we'll front end with Cloud Front, and the application itself, the web application itself, the web page itself will be hosted on S3 bucket, and then we'll have integration with API gateway. And through API gateway, we'll call the Lambda function. The Lambda function will have the code to insert the form data that was submitted onto the DynamoDB. So we'll store all our data that we collect into DynamoDB, and then in future we can use it for to run analytics using Power BI, or you can simply query DynamoDB for this small POC type of example. So in earlier videos, we had built the backend from API gateway all the way to DynamoDB, and we integrated API gateway Lambda and DynamoDB. In this video, we are going to in this video, we are going to build this highlighted portion where we'll build the web page, which will integrate with API gateway, and then we'll also set up our cloud front so that the web page is accessible to a wider audience to throughout the world, so on the internet. So and then we'll also test end to end, right from entering data into the form and checking into DynamoDB to see if it's entered correctly or not. So we'll complete the end to end cycle in this video. So stay tuned. All right, so let's begin with the hands-on portion. Here I have S3 services open on the console, and the bucket that we have for our RSVP web page is this one. It's pretty straightforward. So it has two files in it. One is the HTML index.html file, and then the image file. And this is how the file looks. So this is the image here. And the file is really the form, and it has name, phone number, and skill level drop down. And also bringing a friend, yes, no. And then there's provision for you to enter notes. And then there's a register button here. And so let's look at the source code here. So really quickly, so this was generated by AI, uh, including the image. And so pretty straightforward. So all this is the style sheet here up in the top, which gives kind of padding, margin, button shape, things like that. And then you have, so this is the hero image, the top image that you see, and this is the registration form. And so for each event, you have to modify the event ID. So you can reuse the web page, but you need to change the image and then the event ID here. And then you pass on the name, phone number, the skill level, and bring your friend, yes, no, and the notes. And this is where you kind of pass the API gateway URL and for where you are submitting the form to. And this is how the form is submitted. And then on success, it returns back everything and then prints. So that's essentially what the HTML file does. I've uploaded both of those files to this bucket. And if you look at the bucket properties, the bucket is set up to be the static websites. Let me click on that. So if you look at the very bottom, so static website hosting is enabled, and so it says S3 web hosting is enabled, and then it gives you a URL. So this is the URL you have, bucket hosting, and then you need to set up permissions for the web page to work. So you go to permissions, and this permissions also you can get it from So you have to make it uh, you have to allow public access, and then you have to add um, permission like this for it to be able to work. So this you can get it from AI tool on what permission needs to be for that particular. And so and that's that. And then on the API gateway side, the URL to use is you go to stages and then you say invoke URL. So this is the URL that is used on the form. The other thing that you need to do is you need to enable course, um, cross origin, to be enabled. So enable course. So it's already enabled here, but still shows. But let's go to options. And if you go look at the method response, you will see this response headers. And then the integration response will have the corresponding mapping values. And similarly for integration request, okay, so integration request, not nothing is set up. But you need to have method response and integration response for options. And you also need to do similar thing for the post as well. So method response, you need to have those response headers here, and then you need to have um, integration response header mapping. So you have to have access control, allow methods, you have to allow post and options. The origin, you need to allow origin from star, and then you need to allow headers. So you need to content types, so different content types that you are allowing. So this essentially is the API gateway setup for you to be allowed to call from a web page. So let's go ahead and try the web page here. So let's go to our bucket. So I'm going to go to properties. So to go to the URL, you can get this website. Okay, click on it, and I'll just say my name. Okay, skill level is intermediate. Bringing a friend, no. Now this from S3 web page is not CloudFront yet. So let's register and see if it works. Okay, so it was successful. Now let's go ahead and verify in the website on the DynamoDB, see if it added. So let's go ahead and check. Open link in new tab. And then we'll go ahead, look at the tables. And so this is our table. So let's click on the table, and we'll explore table items here. Because we don't have much data, so we're using this. Otherwise, you can always filter using query. So now if we sort by registration time, okay, so this is the one, so Nilesh Shukla, and this is the number. So we have that. So yes, so this web page is working. Now we need to set up CloudFront so that it is more widely accessible. So let's go ahead and open CloudFront. Okay. So CloudFront is global content delivery network service provided by AWS, which allows you to have provide more wider access to the web applications that you are developing or the content that you are developing. So let's go ahead and create a distribution. So create a distribution. Let me close this to tabs. And so choose a plan. So we'll select the free plan here for hobbies, learners, and developers getting started. So let's go to next. And we'll just say, okay, pickle, pickle distribution, single website. So we'll leave it everything as is. Go to the next. And here origin type is S3. Now we have S3 origin. Okay. Okay, so this is the bucket. So let's choose this bucket here. So this bucket has a static web host INL. So let's go ahead and use web endpoint. So let's click on that. So now we change this to the endpoint. We're not going to put anything to origin path, and rest everything we can leave it as is. Let's go to the next. Web application firewall. We can leave everything as is. And let's create the distribution. Now this takes a little bit of time to get it created. So it is deploying, so it will take some time for it to get created. So I'll be back once it's created, and then we can go from there. All right, so looks like it is enabled. So let's go ahead and try running it. So let me copy the URL here. So this is the URL you use, the distribution name. And so go ahead and open a browser. And then it will bring up the form. And then you type in the name, skill level. And then you register. Okay, this for the event, and let's go ahead and check, see if it created a new item. So right now there are 11 items. Let's go ahead and refresh. Okay, so we have the 12 item, and then this is the item that was added, the last one. So I think what we demonstrated here, so what we demonstrated here is end user can go to the browser, and then they go to the CloudFront enabled website, and then through the that website is actually hosted on S3 bucket, and then the web page really connects to the API gateway, and from API gateway, Lambda function is called, and then from Lambda function, there is code that inserts data into DynamoDB. So this is the cycle that we saw, and like I was saying, either you can use DynamoDB directly through the console, or you can use Power BI to connect to DynamoDB and can kind of look at the analytics. So maybe that's for future video, but this is the like a data driven web application. It was not that complex to build, using just a little bit of AI and using configuration by hand. I'm going to attempt this in a future video to build it using Claude code. We'll see. But this is what I wanted to kind of get my hands on and kind of practice it and kind of experience it myself. And I thought I'll share this journey with you as well. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed building it. Thank you. Thanks again for watching. Feedback is always welcome. Thank you. Thanks again for watching.